It's all imaginary. There's nothing inside this computer. It's like a single squirrel on a wheel.
Just like my brain. That's what my brain is too.
Welcome to season 3, episode 3 of the Bar is Ankle High podcast, your favorite ADHD podcast that explores life's low bars with wit and wisdom and sometimes hearsay. My name is Katie.
And I'm Garrett, and I'm thrilled.
Actually, I had a hearing last week where I was the most familiar with what we needed the judge to do. And it was just a strict procedural thing. Like they were just entering data effectively into the system. But for some reason, we had to have a whole hearing about it. And so I was like explaining how we got to this like rate of what we were paying somebody. And the claimant's attorney was like, yeah, sure. And I was like, it makes sense as long as you don't think about it too hard. The moment you focus too much on why it is what it is, you're going to lose it. So I was like, I understand.
I'm sure they loved that.
Yeah, they got a kick out of it because like I made, for any attorneys listening, I was like, it's like the rule against perpetuities. You just need to not think about it and just do what it says and follow the steps and then move on with your life.
That's actually pretty accurate.
Don't revisit
it. I remember taking an estate planning class.
Oh God, they went
something.
Over RAP with you. Oh
yes. And she was like, lots of people struggle with this, so we're not going to spend too much time on it.
Did she tell you about malpractice?
I don't remember.
So it's the one area of the law that you can't be sued for malpractice over because it's so batshit stupid. Like basically they're like, nobody understands it. So if you get it wrong, it's like not a liability. Like it's just what it is.
I love it.
Isn't that nuts?
I love at the core of it is just like, remember the old commercials with Ben Stein and the eyeball, and he's like, wow. Like I feel like that's who wrote the rule of perpetuity. It's just
the rule against perpetuities. Yeah.
Yep. In the center of it is just Ben Stein with an eyeball.
And
just, wow.
If you don't know what we're talking about, it's a rule basically when it comes to estate planning. Like if you were to say my youngest child will get this when they turn however many years old. And the idea is that it prevents your estate from staying open forever. So like if you can't say like my youngest child when they turn 21, the idea being like if I'm 85 years old and have not a woman, but like assume a man says this in his will. He's 85, gives birth, or his partner is pregnant, gives birth after he dies. So then you have another 21 years after this person dies that their estate would technically remain open because it's not payable to the heir until they turn 21. And then if that heir dies before they turn 21, but they have an heir, then it would pass to them. And so it's to prevent that sort of bullshit because men be trifling, basically.
And their ability, their era of fertility is too long.
Perpetual. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yes.
It's ridiculous.
It shouldn't be that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
I think, yeah, like once you start getting colonoscopies, you also have to have your testicles removed and just replaced with some weighted ping pong balls. So you still have like the feeling of it. You know, you won't want to put empty ping pong balls in there. You feel silly. But
imagine how they would float.
That's all I could think is like if you had to replace my breast tissue with just like ping pong balls, not like silicone implants, how bizarre it would feel. Like,
just
be like a fembot
in there. Yeah.
I don't think it would be a bag of ping pong balls. It would be like one large one. Well, the way you were like moving your fingers, like
there'd be a whole bunch of ping pong balls in there. Like, how
you want lumpy boobs?
Wait a second. Let's rewind this a little bit. You're envisioning one big ping pong ball, and that makes more sense than a bunch of ping pong ball sized ping pong balls
in a boob. Yeah. that when
in
you
the
say you want
scenario
a
that it's an
bigger
implant.
silicone implant, they don't just put 2 small silicone implants in there.
No, but those are designed to be inserted into someone's boob.
Where are you putting
ping pong balls are not designed to be.
Well, these ones would be. They would be medical grade ping pong balls.
Katie's put
they'd be sterile.
Thought into this for minutes. You are
giving me a lot of credit on this.
There's at least 65 seconds worth of thought that went into this.
Yeah.
Also, the defensiveness of
I'm right. I am, if nothing, the meme of the guy saying, "Why are you booing? I'm right." That's me and your husband.
Yes. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Briefly, you're kind of quiet.
Am I?
Yeah.
Is that better?
That's way better. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't like that I just had to finger that so much.
Well, I'm not going to cut that out of the show. So,
of course not. Why would you?
At the end of last week, I gave you all a little teaser, but we booked our honeymoon. So next January, we're going to go on a cruise. And so it's through Virgin Voyages. So there's no kids on the cruise.
Nice.
Which, like, I don't have a problem with kids. It's just like from
not on a vacation.
Well, from an entertainment standpoint too.
Yes.
Like, I don't really, like, I don't know. I've been on, like, when I was younger, my whole, like, as you saw, I mean, you saw a portion of my family. You saw like 1/3 of my family at the wedding. And probably less than 1/3. You probably saw about a quarter of my family. But my mom's side, we would go and do like family reunions, but we would take a cruise. So
that's a good idea.
It was great, honestly, because especially like my cousins and I think the oldest was maybe just going into college when we were doing this. And I was I wasn't really the youngest. I was like the lower edge of the middle group of kids. The youngest were maybe like 5 or 6. Mm-hmm. And the first one, I was 10 when we went on it. But so we did like a celebrity cruise. I think we did Princess Cruise Line. And I've done a Carnival cruise. I would never do a Carnival cruise again. It was like, I mean, Carnival is the right phrase for it. It felt like you were at a carnival, or like a county fair or something.
I think I did a Royal Caribbean, and it was like Lord of the Flies. There was just a bunch of unsupervised children running in gangs around the ship. Like, literally, like, you would be standing there, and then suddenly you would hear just, like, squeaking of sneakers, and, like, 12 kids would run past you. And I was like...
But the great thing about it for a family reunion standpoint is that there really is something for everyone to do. Like,
yes.
The young kids can go to, like, a day camp thing. There's
yes.
the pools. There's the casinos. There's... like nightclubs for the older teens and stuff like that.
Yes.
Like, so it really,
and if somebody wants to hang with the younger kids,
yeah,
other people can go out. I mean, yeah, it's really,
yes.
that's like ideal.
Yeah, it really was. It was great. And then like each day we'd have like the main dining room and we'd all have dinner together. And so it was like, it was just a good time. But for this, we're doing a virgin cruise because there's no kids and we're virgins. And so,
we're going on a virgin cruise because you have to be a virgin.
There's a lot of seminars is
to
my
get
understanding.
on,
they show you a lot of
to get on the cruise. That's what they said.
They're gonna like cancel my reservation if they hear this. Yeah. But as a result, there's like a lot of because they don't have like a main dining room that you go to every night. It's like all restaurants. So you like book what restaurant you want to stay in. So I've been looking up like Virgin Voyages, like tips and tricks and hacks and all these different things. So that's what I've been kind of delving into. But the other really exciting thing we just did yesterday, we made our first real purchase as a couple, which was like very exciting. Like we walked out and then PK mentioned that it was like our first purchase. And I was like, oh my God, you're right. But yeah, we got a couch and a love seat. And then he thought I was joking when I said we were going to go to the furniture store on our way home from running errands. And so he was like, well, I would have taken measurements if we were actually, like, if I knew we were going to do this. And I was like, well, why would you think I was joking about it? Like, I've been talking about getting a new couch for months. Because our current one is destroyed by our dog because she sits on the back cushion, which is not attached. So then it just is now, it's basically a lumbar support cushion.
Yes.
But in any event, and PK likes to put his feet up. And I was like, we should get a reclining sofa because you like to have your feet up. And I hate when your feet are on me. Because your legs are heavy. And I hate the feeling of heels like into my thigh. It makes me want to scream and amputate my own legs to avoid the feeling.
Yeah.
So in any event, I'm doing fine. Marriage is great.
What? Autism.
So we went to the furniture store. So then we got the love seat and the couch. We got those ordered, and they'll be here in a couple weeks. Hopefully by the time you guys are hearing this, they'll be here.
Oh God. Remember mine? Remember mine got like super delayed, and then it was like supposed to get
you got it
delivered
during COVID, right?
Yeah.
So like they couldn't get the lumber for it. Like it was something
Yeah,
crazy.
there was like
there
was some kind of ridiculous
build
delay.
the frame.
Yes. It was some kind of
they
absurd.
like didn't have cotton because they were using it for the masks, so they didn't have like the batting. I remember you saying that at some point.
Something very stupid.
Like there was like 2 separate delays.
Yes.
But so yeah, we didn't take measurements, and then we got home, and our living room is small. Have you been in my house?
Yes.
So it's a tight little living room. I mean, we have like a little kit, I swear to God, it's a Sears kit Cape House is our house. Because all the doors are too narrow for normal.
They are narrow.
Furniture.
Yeah.
But in any event, so we were trying to figure out, like, we had the dimensions now at this point. So we're trying to figure out how we were going to situate it. And so I think we settled on basically the couches facing each other, like one against the window and one against the wall, opposite it. So neither will be facing the TV, or at least that's how we'll have it set up when we have company. But either way, very excited to have new couches that
it's the best
like
feeling.
Will just be nice. And they're leather. So
that's nice too. Easier to clean.
Yeah, way easier. Then that's the thing. Like there were some fabric ones where I was like, I really like this fabric, but Coco's nails are next level and they cannot be stopped. And she digs. And so she's just going to put holes in it. And like, there's a risk of her putting holes in the leather, but I would rather that. Like she put a hole in my couch cushions like day 2 of living together. So like, it was just that sort of thing where I was like, yeah, like if we have kids and they're like 10 or 15, then we'll have a nice fabric couch one day.
Oh yeah. Like you just have to like resign yourself to the fact that like when you have pets and kids, like we literally have like nice furniture. And then we have like the stuff that can be lived in right now because there's no.
Yeah. Although
I think my couch is like half composed of Cheez-Its at this point and Cheerios.
Probably. And that's the other thing, like this, actually, I'm not sure. I think the whole seat itself is one thing. And then like, I guess it would like fall out the back, but you can like vacuum under the back of the couch. But
nice.
Otherwise there's no like cushions to like remove and vacuum in between, which will also be nice. But yeah, so yeah, I'm pretty pumped for that. It's also a power reclining sofa.
Oh yeah, we had that for a little bit. Yeah.
It has a USB thing in it as well. So you can have like your phone charger just like right there.
Yes.
Which is also good for me mostly because again, I've turned into my mother where I just never close apps. And then I wonder why, like, by 11 a.m., my battery is at 50%.
Your phone is begging for the sweet release of death.
Yeah, I realized that the other day that it was, like, the 3rd time in a row I've just, like, had to just keep swiping. And I was like, ooh.
Katie's phone. So my phone, I keep my brightness down really low because it hurts my eyeballs when it's too bright. And I literally, like, if I'm not actively touching it, it locks in like half a second. Like, it's just like, oh, you're done locked. There was one day you guys were here and you set down your phone and your screen was like active and it just stayed active. And I was like, hey, what's wrong with your phone? And Patrick was like, she leaves it that way. Isn't it crazy? He was like, it's so crazy. I can't even believe she does it.
Because so often I'm looking at recipes on my phone while I'm cooking.
Oh, yeah.
So like
Very
it's
annoying.
rather than having dirty hands and trying to like unlock my phone or whatever, I just like have it so that it doesn't turn off for like 5 minutes. But yeah.
The number of accidental 911 calls I would be making because my child just mashed yesterday.
Well, yeah, I mean that's I
we
don't
went
have
to
worry
Home
about
Depot.
that as much.
Yeah. We went to Home Depot
Sophie
yesterday.
is a menace, but she hasn't tried that yet.
No thumbs. Yeah. We went to Home Depot and we were checking out and we were like, my daughter was in the cart and my spouse was like, here, you want to ring something up? And he like hands her the scanner and she did. And he was like kind of holding it for her like, ooh, wow. You know, she ran. It made me laugh so hard when it happened. We're looking at the screen and suddenly it says, I got this like, you know, the cleaner to get off like adhesive labels and stuff.
Oh, the goo be gone stuff. Yeah.
I had gotten a bottle
on my car actually because I have to change my registration sticker.
Oh yeah. So I saw that and I was like, oh, I should really get a fresh thing of that. And I had it. That's what she had rung up and somehow also pushed the buttons. So it said that we had bought 77 bottles of it.
We would like a pallet of goo be gone.
So I started like cackling because I immediately knew what happened. It was just so funny to me. And then the lady from Home Depot like came over and was like helping us fix it. And like she was also laughing really hard. So, yeah,
I thought for sure you were going to say that she just like scanned all the candy and like the weird flat pencils that they have at checkout at Home Depot.
Nope. She just bought 77 bottles of Goo Be Gone.
Oh, that's too funny.
Yeah, it was great. So that's immediately what I thought of. Like if my phone were open that long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's times like I've been playing a lot of Sudoku lately and I really enjoy it actually. I didn't think I would, but like I am like it. I'm not good at playing it in hard paper format because I do need to find out immediately if I'm wrong, which is what the app tells me. Because a lot of times I'm between like two. Like I'm like, okay, it either goes here or here. So like I don't feel so bad about that because I'm like, good job, logic brain. You like narrowed it down.
Yeah.
Primo. But like at the same time, I'm kind of, I don't know. Like I could do like pencil mode or something. And
I only want Sudoku if it's easy. Because like it's still challenging me.
Yeah.
But if it's too hard, I'm not going to get any of them and I'll just make no progress.
If I do like the expert setting, I just push the buttons until they show a correct number.
Oh, okay. So you play it on regular mode? So you're playing it on the same one I am. I'm just not waiting for the computer to tell me. Oh my God. What
there are
ADHD.
two types of people.
Yeah. What ADHD.
So sometimes though, Sophie will come up and want some attention while I'm playing that and will knock my finger and I'll hit the button. And then I'm mad because then I don't get the no mistake win.
Yeah.
But it's
and then suddenly you bought 77 of something.
Yeah. And then I have the moment of being like, hey, Katie, this is a fake game. It doesn't exist. Oh, speaking of things that don't exist. So I told you I had a conspiracy theory to tell you.
Yes.
So I've been listening to this podcast called Creeps and Crimes. They're based out of Tennessee, so they kind of have this like southern drawl, and they do mispronounce words. So if that's something that bothers you, you're not. There will be parts of this show that you don't like and won't be able to stand. Like an episode I listened to this morning, they pronounced effigy as iffigy, and
You know what? I feel much better about when I was calling that actor Doug Ray instead of Doug Ray.
I felt much better about when I said Sam Hain instead of Samhain.
Ours are way more understandable.
That's a different language and not
yes
a word. Yeah. And these people, I mean, they've gone to college, like they have college degrees and stuff. And they went to like universities, like not like
Trump University.
Right. But like a real one. Like an in-person university with like, you know, accreditation and stuff.
Yes.
But in any event, they were talking about so like the creeps portion of the podcast, has like they do a lot of like conspiracy theories and like some like hauntings and like alien abductions and things, but they've talked about like MK Ultra, and it's very kind of surface level. It's not like the deep dives that like Last Podcast on the Left does or something. But they were talking about at some point, and I don't remember what the topic was, but they were talking about the God particle. Oh, I think they were talking about Stephen Hawking. That's who they were talking about. And they were talking about the God particle and how Stephen Hawking predicted that if we discover the God particle, it's only a matter of time until we destroy the universe with it. Because like humans can't be trusted, basically. And like
Stephen Hawking also couldn't have been trusted because didn't he also like sexually harass people or?
Yeah, apparently. There's also apparently a conspiracy that he died in like the 80s and was replaced with a lookalike. But the lookalike is somebody that had like a tragic like car accident or something and was like also paralyzed. But like it's I mean, the way they explain it, I was like, I have not heard that one. That's wild. But like, but the part of the reason for that conspiracy is that he had ALS, and the life expectancy once you're diagnosed with that is like 2 to 5 years, and he lived like 45 years after his diagnosis. So like part of the conspiracy is like, why of all the people with ALS, like he's the one that survived? Like that's weird. So which I kind of get, like being like, you really don't hear about anyone else living with ALS long term. A woman I went to high school with, actually, her husband passed away from it within 5 years of him being diagnosed.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's awful.
So, truly. And he was like he did like sound engineering at SPAC, I think. So he was like a very active person, and like, yeah. So just, I mean, it's a horrible disease, but in any event, so they're talking about the God particle, and the theory is that when it was discovered in 2012, that is when the universe was destroyed. And so like none of what we're living in right now is real because the universe has already been destroyed. Which is how then
what happened in 2012?
The God particle was discovered.
Okay. And what evidence is pointing to that being discovered?
Oh, it's we know this.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. It was one of the CERN like super collider things. Like that's where they discovered the God particle.
Okay.
Like, or the dark matter, whatever thing.
Okay.
This
is feeling a little bit like when my spouse tried to explain NFTs to me.
It's definitely like a little bit of like a suspend your belief thing, but it's also it's just kind of interesting with like the idea of like, because then there you have like the simulation theory that I feel like I would never have heard about before 2012. So then the idea is like there was the universe was destroyed, the simulation took over, like in whatever other universe is like controlling us, kind of thing. So it's just like interesting, but it's like one of those things that is kind of living rent free in my head. And then last night we watched this movie Heretic with Hugh Grant. Have you seen it? In the tile, it's just his head with glasses.
So no, I haven't watched it yet, but I've heard about it.
So good.
Oh, really?
It's by the studio is A24, so they did Get Out, they did Midsummer.
Yeah.
It is so good, and it ended, and I like turned to PK and I was like, "Do you think da 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 da?" And he was like, "No, why?" And I was like, "Well, because of this thing that they said earlier in the movie, and like what they showed at the end." And he was like, "Oh my God!" And I like looked it up, and I was correct, but not like it wasn't like that is exactly, because I don't want to spoil it for anybody that hasn't seen it, because it's so good, but it was like intended for you to question the ending.
Oh, okay.
Kind of like at the end of Inception, where like you don't know if he made it out, kind of thing.
Right.
But it was so good, and apparently Hugh Grant took the role because he was sick of kind of being typecast in these like rom-com type roles. And so his agent was like, "Okay, well, here's one." And
did you see The Undoing? With him and Nicole Kidman? No. You should watch it recent? On HBO. Yeah, it was in the last few years. Last 3-4 years. And he plays a good like complex. 2020. Oh, Donald Sutherland. Love him. Oh yeah. Yeah, I forgot he was in it. Yep. Nicole Kidman and
Oh, it's a
I think
miniseries.
Yes. It's like maybe like 4 or 5 episodes.
Huh.
I think it was on HBO. It was good. You should watch it.
That's good. Yeah.
It's got a good twist.
Nice. But yeah, so that's but the way that the ending of that movie like kind of makes you question what's real and what's not also reminded me of that conspiracy theory. So that's why I've been thinking about it.
That's like when that like that science news came out and they were like, "Oh, we have this like telescope that's so strong, like something about like how you can use it and you can see dinosaurs." Remember there was something about that?
The James Webb telescope. Yeah, so it's so powerful that because of how light travels, you're
right.
The photos that it's giving us are the stars as they existed when dinosaurs were on Earth. So like if those same stars have a telescope pointed at us, they're seeing dinosaurs. They're not seeing humans. Pretty wild.
Right. There's just certain things that I'm like, you know what? My brain doesn't need to. No one's relying on me to know this information, so I'm just going to let that just.
But if you actually understood astrophysics, then you would understand how ghosts work.
That's a good point. I forgot
Tune into
about
Patreon.
That. Forgot about that guy on the Sci-Fi Channel dunking on me like that.
I played that clip for PK, and he was like, "Why do you like these shows?"
Yes, also me.
And I was like, because it's just like stupid background noise. Like if I'm caught up on my podcasts or whatever, like it's just something to put on while I'm like vegging out.
I just did that with Forbidden Love. Have you seen that?
No.
Show? It's like an old
reality. Is it people show? Like fucking their cars?
No. It was mostly people of like different religions getting together.
Mostly people fucking their cars. But not only people fucking their cars.
It was mostly people fucking like small engines. Not really cars.
Like a mower or a snowblower.
Yeah. Weed whacker.
Because you want to live on the edge. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was I lost my train of thought. The dog barked and it just
Forgotten
left my head.
Love or Forbidden Love.
Oh yeah, Forbidden Love. Yeah. So there was like a couple where she was like agnostic and he was like an Orthodox Jew, and then like she becomes an Orthodox Jew, and then there was one where the guy was Amish and he left Amish and like joined her and was like shunned by his family, and there was some good, it was trash. It was garbage.
Is it on HBO?
Yes. Well,
like
I think
TLC.
it was actually TLC. Yeah.
Do you think it's real? Like I always, because like there was like that Breaking Amish show that turned out to be like nonsense, and like the Amish Mafia show that were just nonsense scripted shit with people with neck beards.
I don't know. Like I don't know. But there was a really great fight where one of the couples broke up, and he was like trying to be really calm and talking to her, and she was literally just like, "Fuck you, you bitch ass," and it was so funny. So like my spouse comes in as I'm watching this fight, and I'm like, like literally like
taking
giggling,
notes
like,
for the next fight.
Yeah.
Fuck you, you bitch ass.
Bitch ass motherfucker. He was like, "Oh, I'm glad you find this so funny." I was like, "It's great. I love it."
Yeah.
Great television.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you know, and then obviously Naked Attraction. We gotta every now and then I watch some of that just to, you know, see a bunch of like droopy foreskin.
There's so much foreskin. And then so on New Year's Eve we had PK's best man and his best man's girlfriend over, and we were telling them about Naked Attraction. And whenever you describe the show to somebody who's never heard of it,
to see it,
it sounds fake, which is what
yes.
PK and mine's reaction were when his former boss told us about it, because it was like, that can't be on television. Like, what do you mean? Like, what? And so we played the first episode for them, because like I'm describing to them, and I was like, no, they like show like the window goes up and it shows them from the waist down, and they're like, okay, and we're like, but they're naked, and they're like, okay, but like, so they're in their underwear? No, they're naked. You can see their gooch. Like there is so much nakedness on this show, and I don't know how else to describe it to you. You see, and I was talking with his girlfriend. I was like, it's kind of cool because like, I mean, the show I think started coming out in 2015, and the inclusiveness of the different sexualities and gender
Body
identities.
types,
And,
yes.
yes. So I think like that is truly amazing.
Diverse bodies. Yeah.
Would never go on. I would go on the show if I was not an attorney and had no like true career prospects ever, or goals, I would say. But I won't. I mean, now I'm married, but like, it's also that sort of thing. Like there was that one episode where the girl was like 19 and she was like, I'm running out of time to find somebody to fall in love with. And then she said her age and we were like, huh? like, huh? So, we showed them an episode and like they start it. And because like you start and you're looking at the host and the picker who's picking the person to go on a date with, and they're both fully clothed. So you're like, okay, whatever, regular dating show. And then
it's like
go up.
And
in the first episode, one of the guys has an enormous elephant tattoo on his crotch with the trunk of the elephant being his wang. And he's also missing a leg. So like there's just a lot to take in that first review.
Honestly, every single episode there's a lot to take in, but there was a lot to take in the first episode.
Yeah. And then they were super jazzed when they found out that there's like the reunion afterwards and like you get to judge how people are doing, like if they're still talking or not when they like,
I do like
check
that.
in.
Yeah.
I love the check-in.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we did expose new people to that show, which is always great. But then we showed them this, and then you sent me the link of the woman who's my favorite.
It was just very funny
show,
timing.
because she just has this comment about she's an organist at her church. And
now this, I want to preface this, is a vocal stim of Katie's.
Oh yeah.
She's got
It's so
several
fun to
vocal
say.
stems from this show. But she says this one a lot.
Yeah. And so she's like in her 50s. She was a caretaker for her mother who was extremely ill. And I think her mother passed or like went into an assisted living facility. So she didn't have to be a full-time caretaker anymore. So she was ready to date. And the first reveal of this, she, it shows from the waist down. And the host is like, so what do you think of the schlongs we got here? Or however she phrased it. And she's like, oh, I'm really just looking at their feet. And the host was like, oh, really? You like feet? And she goes, yes, because I love when they put their toes in my pussy. It's very sexy. And it's just the most like, and even the host is like, Jesus.
This
so
lady
funny.
was so...
The host being surprised by that is the best part of the whole thing, because the host has heard and seen it all.
She was so horned up. Like,
the best. I loved her.
And just this episode, there was this one guy, and he was missing a leg. He had very few teeth, and his eyes went in two different directions.
He's not the one with the elephant tattoo, by the way. Different.
Guy.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. Like, you frequently see people with like missing limbs. There's wheelchair users. There's people that are using canes. There's like all kind of assistive things that you see.
Yes.
So it really is like a legitimately very diverse group of people, which is the biggest
and
prop
there's no,
I can give it.
When they have folks who have mobility issues or are using different pronouns or are mid-transition or are taking hormones or pre-surgery, post-surgery, whatever, they like mention it so that the person picking is aware, because clearly the person picking has indicated that they would be willing and open and interested in dating somebody who is trans or has mobility issues or whatever. So it's not like a gotcha type thing.
Right.
But also it's presented in a way of like, this is just factual as opposed to like a sideshow type thing.
Very matter of fact and like respectful, and like there's no like removing any of the salaciousness from things.
Yeah, like it's not there for ratings kind of thing.
It's like, truly, and it's very educational too. Like when one of those things comes up, they do this little aside and they'll give you like an infographic type thing where they're like explaining statistics and like a little bit of science behind
pubic hair and like the purpose of it, what they think it's for, what it was for back in the day. They'll talk about like skull shape and jawline and how that can like why some people find that more attractive and what researchers think. It's just very it's like, yes, there's like a part of it where, especially as Americans, I think we're like, what?
Foreskin?
is on free television.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then there is this other part of it where it's just a very, I think, wholesome expression of humanity that is just nice. But man, I love when they put their toes in my pussy. So good.
It's so crazy. So I just happened to see that and sent it to Katie.
The same day. It was so great. I was so excited. I sent
like
it
the same time they were watching it
to PK's best man and his girl. And I was like, see, it's real.
And it was odd because I hadn't watched it in like a long time. And I was like, oh, I'll watch this while I'm folding laundry. And I saw the lady and I was like, oh, I was like, I have to be ready. I'm like sitting there with my phone, like waiting for her to say it. It's a crazy thing. So what are we talking about today?
Well, today we are talking about IFS. Do you know what this is?
No.
Okay. So this came up in one of my own therapy sessions, probably last summer, I think.
Okay.
Last June, I think. Like it came up quite a while ago, but we were already in our break. So like I knew I wanted to cover it for a topic for our new season. It stands for internal family systems, which makes it sound like group therapy or something, like something that you're doing with your family. It's not. It's a type of therapy that's actually shown in early studies to benefit folks with depression, OCD, anxiety, bipolar disorder, eating disorders, substance use disorders, or PTSD, and helps them to make improvements in self-compassion. But it was originally, according to my therapist, developed to help patients with dissociative identity disorder, DID, or what was used to be called multiple personality disorder. The background behind it is for DID. I always think of the movie Split. I think it, from what I've heard anyway, it did a pretty good job of, particularly when it has the child personality compared to the really uptight, like Christian church lady type personality, and the guy who's like kind of OCD and keeps everything very straight and like militaristic, and how like neat as a pin everything is and all this stuff. There's these different personalities that exist to protect the core person that exists in that mind, at least as it's shown in that movie. If that's not an accurate representation, don't come for me. But the founder of this type of therapy is a man named Dr. Richard Schwartz, and he decided to treat the mind like a singular brain as a family unit, and applying principles used in family or group therapy to a single person's mind. So the theory is that we all have several parts or identities living within us, which can fill both healthy and unhealthy roles. So for example, you might have like a teenager side of you who likes to sleep in and isn't great at personal hygiene and is really impulsive and hormonal. There might be like, even though this is like kind of like a gender roles thing, like the mom type who is really concerned about caring for everybody else before yourself. The dad side who will do the bare minimum, like hygiene, laundry, providing, but then just wants to kick back and do nothing, instead of like the honey-do list, so to speak. But you could also have parts of you that are like a 7-year-old child getting made fun of in school for speaking out in class, and when you were supposed to be sitting quietly, and is just trying not to cry. There's the 20-something part of you, present company included, who survived a physically and or emotionally abusive relationship and is just trying to put one foot in front of the other. So IFS therapy is made up of 8 C's and 5 P's, which I think is absolutely outrageous. They really need to narrow this down. But in any event, the 8 C's are confidence, calmness, creativity, clarity, curiosity, compassion, and connectedness. And the 5 P's are presence, patience, perspective, persistence, and playfulness. Now, I'm not going to get into each one of those because that's not what we're doing in this new format for the show. But according to Dr. Schwartz, there's 3 main types of identities inside of you. There's the firefighter, the manager, and the exile. The firefighter is that protector reaction, really goes on the offensive, when a trigger is present. So the firefighter reaction is the one that puts out the fire or the pain associated with that trigger, such as self-medicating with illicit substances instead of feeling those feelings and processing what the feeling means and all that. The manager will protect you by like managing situations through intense planning. So like for me, as I was researching, this sounded like when my anxiety really flares up and I like just keep making like infinite lists and I'm like micromanaging every detail of every possible thing with a certain project. Like I did this when we were planning to go to Europe. Like I said to my GP, I was like, I need a little bit more Lexapro because this is not a normal reaction to planning a trip. Like I am getting too hyper-focused on this. And the exile identity is the part of you that floods you with those memories of the pain and the trauma that are caused by the trigger, and the part of you that the manager and the firefighter try to keep away. So this came up in my therapy session because PK and I had a disagreement. Like it was just like the dishes weren't getting done. That's really like his thing. And it had been like a few days and I was just getting frustrated because it was like, look, I come home from work, I handle the dog, I make dinner. We have a pretty small kitchen or limited counter space. I can't make dinner if there's no counter space. But if you're not going to do the dishes, then it puts me in a situation where like I'm not able to eat well because then we're getting takeout. I just feel like I'm doing everything. I do the yard work. I'm, doing all these other things. I clean the inside of the house for the most part. Like I'm the one doing the vacuuming and the scooping the litter boxes unless I tell him to do it. So I was just feeling very, very overwhelmed. But so I got up one morning and I'm doing the dishes and he was like, oh, I was going to do those today. And I was like, it's fine. Like I'm just doing them. And so he got kind of quiet and it was the quiet part that really like freaked me out. And so I started like spiraling thinking like he's really pissed at me and like I fucked this up. And I just started spiraling. And so he went to go like clean something else. And then I was like, I don't know, like it was just like one of those things where like I still can't even like really remember the details of it because it's a stupid fight that people have when they're in a relationship.
Yeah, right.
But when he
valid
got quiet,
and it comes up a lot, but it
right.
is something that has to be worked on over the process of like years, to be honest. Yeah.
Right. And it's just that like sometimes like it's not an even division of labor. Like it just kind of is what it is. Mm-hmm. PK mentioned this in his vows. Like, so it was just one of those things where, and I think at the time he was like transitioning to a new job. And I was like, look, I'm trying to be really mindful that you're transitioning to a new job, but like, that doesn't mean that the house stops existing. And like,
right. Like we have to support each
things.
other. Like
right.
I can support you while you're going through this, but then you also have to like, okay, let's
right.
even this back out. Yeah.
So I was just, and so he got quiet because once we started talking about it, he was saying like, well, I was just trying to go through and think like, well, what haven't I done? Because he wasn't seeing what I was seeing. But because he got quiet, I thought he was like separating from me and like I just took that as like an attack basically. And so I was so then I started getting upset and teary and crying. And I was like, look, I don't want to get this frustrated. And we talked through it, whatever. But I said to my therapist, I was like, I don't want to cry over the dishes not being done. Like that's not a normal reaction. And, at the same time, like he got quiet because he was listening to what I was saying. And I still managed to like take that as a bad thing. So she was like, well, have you heard about IFS? And so she goes through it with me. And she's like, first of all, I'm not saying that you have DID. So like when you go to research this.
So settle down.
Right. She's like, I know you're going to Google it. And I'm not saying that that's what you have. But she was saying, the question is like, if we have a disagreement and it makes me feel that way where suddenly you have that pain in your chest, you're welling up, you have that like skin on fire reaction. The question is, how old did that situation make you feel? So when I was feeling like I was about to cry, how old did I feel? And so I was like, well, I was probably about 8. And it was when my stepmom and my dad were having a fight about my brother and I being there at their house. And it was like you had to walk on eggshells and you couldn't say anything. And like suddenly we couldn't take up space.
And it's an adult conversation that you shouldn't be privy to, that shouldn't be happening, but you're still privy to it. You know what I mean?
Right. And so I was like, well, this is how, like, and so she's like, right. Okay. So now you know how old you were. Now, what did 8-year-old need in that moment? What would have made the 8-year-old version of you feel safe? And so then, you know, what I needed was for my dad to stick up for me, really. And, you know, kind of say, you know, these are my kids and this is not going to change. And then the question is, as a 38-year-old, how does that translate into what I need now? Like what I need now is my partner to say, this doesn't change how I feel for you. This is just a disagreement. I'm still going to love you. I'm still going to be here. This is just a disagreement. This is not earth shattering, you know, so like, but going through that process of how old did you feel? What did 8-year-old you need? What did 15-year-old you need? What did 25-year-old you need in that moment? And then how do you give that to yourself now in this situation? So that's what IFS is. It's about working through that.
Right. And that's an important thing, like that self-reflection. And I think like, I know as I've gotten older and now become a parent, you start realizing, you know, how someone is looking to you to understand how to respond to something. So it makes you very aware of like your dysregulation and responding to things in an inappropriate way or like too intensely, or so you kind of have to like unpack that. And so much of it, there are times where I will literally say to my spouse, I'm like, I feel like a little kid right now. Like, I feel like I'm asking for this and blah, blah, blah. Like, of course, there's no calmness in the way.
No, I'm sure you say this exactly in the same tone you're saying it now. Duh.
Yeah. And that is another thing that I've worked on significantly is, but getting to the point where you can, I think for me, part of it was even recognizing when I felt triggered, like what that feeling even felt like on a physical level. Yeah. Because it's one of those, like, I can 100%, I'm an empathetic person. So like if you explain something to me conceptually, I will absolutely be like right there with you listening to what you're saying. But when it comes to like the self-reflective part where I'm like, oh, I had to really figure out like what even that felt like. And then making sure I'm like allowing myself like a little bit of a cushion to just like take a minute to like assess like, whoa, why is that making me feel this way? Like, why does my chest feel so tight? Why does my face feel so hot? Why are my armpits so spicy? Like, and for me, I think like it's even to the point where then my spouse is now almost reacting. It's just like so funny because I'm realizing this now, like kind of a full circle thing where now he's looking to me like, why are you being so quiet? Because I am literally taking a minute to like understand what I'm feeling and why, and be able to communicate it in a way where I'm not attacking. I'm not like blaming, because he also has a tendency to respond very defensively to things, which is something we are still working on. Because it's hard.
It is.
And I think too, like if you've had exposure to people who like don't take these considerations when you're communicating with them, you do tend to respond defensively because things are sometimes like an attack. Like sometimes it feels that way because it is a very pointed criticism.
Like sometimes I'm an asshole and I didn't pick up something that I should have picked up, or I didn't, like I left something in a cup, so now it's a bitch to clean or whatever. Like sometimes it is like you're just a dick. Like, right. It happens.
But other times, like you really do just need that.
When I'm a dick, I don't have that same triggered reaction either. Like I know I was an asshole, and so
maybe it was a different part of you that was triggered. It's not so much an inner child. It's like a teenager.
Right. Exactly.
It's like, fuck you and the horse you rode in on, buddy.
But
also
fuck
like
you in the horseshoe.
Specifically in the horseshoe.
Fuck you in the horseshoe.
The classic spot where people get fucked. But also, like, living with people is really hard, and division of labor is really hard. So it is, I think that is a really good way to, like, just take a second to, like, unpack something.
Yeah.
Because also those fights can, like, run away. Like,
totally.
They start and it just avalanches.
Well, and it's also, you know, and part of the reason that I raised the issue with my therapist was because, like, there have been moments where I'm like, could you just do the fucking dishes? And it hasn't been this, like, I didn't have that kind of emotional response.
Right. Like, why am I feeling bad right now?
Right. Like, exactly. Yeah. And so I was like, not only did I need to not feel bad, because I leading up to that event, I absolutely should have communicated better. However, I also wasn't mean or biting in that moment. So I was like, why am I so, like, afraid all of a sudden?
Right.
Like, that's not, and, you know, it's you know, years of therapy, you know, since 2018. So 8 years. But, you know, being able to say, like, that is not a normal reaction. Okay. So, like, rewind. Why? Because
right. Like, okay, why am I feeling this way?
Right. Like, it's not like I got startled. It's not like he jumped out around a corner and, like, scared me or did something that would have triggered my PTSD. It was like something else. And so then it was like that moment of, like, well, how old? And I mean, I almost never cry in therapy anymore. I cried when we were doing this because I was like, oh, fuck. Like, this is like that child, like, healing your inner child thing.
Yes.
Of figuring out, like, what it is and, like, why I, like, and part of it, I think, is, like, again, like, there's points where, like, you get lectured and it's like, I'm back in, like, grade school, embarrassed and ashamed and, like, feeling all these things where I'm like, excuse me, like, I am an adult. Like, you do not need to lecture me.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
But, like, I have that triggered reaction where then I have to say, like, okay, like, what do I need? I need to stand up for myself, and I have the vocabulary and the ability to do that now. So, like, it's just a matter of taking that breath and doing it, which is why this type of therapy, IFS, is considered to be, you know, a practice in self-compassion, which my therapist and I are also working on my negative self-talk.
It's so hard
because it turns out I'm real bad at it. I'm very mean to myself.
Yes. I mean, it is. And, you know, and we talk about this a lot, but I do feel like the pod has helped with that. Oh, where sometimes I'm like, or you're just dealing with a lot. That's why things feel so overwhelming. Like, maybe it's not that you're incapable of handling things. You just have a lot going on.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, that got missed because you have a lot going on. So I think it's definitely helped with that. And I know, like, becoming a parent, the best example, like, I can think of that I've seen is, I know we mentioned there was a season of 90 Day Fiancé where this woman was married and had lost her spouse and had a couple of young kids and was, like, months later getting involved with someone and on this 90 Day Fiancé show. And you have these kids that are grieving and tender and they're on camera. And I couldn't even watch it because I think
it's not the beekeeper lady.
No. I honestly, I don't
know that I've seen that season then.
Yeah, it's in the last few seasons of one of those spinoffs or
there's
one
so
of
many
them.
that like, I don't know which one.
And I just remember thinking, like, I actually can't get through this. I can't watch this because these kids are in pain. And you also, like, as a parent, I now have this, you just realize that, like, all of these adults that you know that have these issues, and it's like you get this clarity and you can just see the thread connecting what they're struggling with now with things that were maybe not handled the best way when they were kids, especially boomers. And there's been such a change, and I know, like, people want to roll their eyes at, like, millennial parenting and, like, gentle parenting, but, like, I can tell you that I'm getting to the point with a toddler where, like, we can kind of talk through something where she doesn't flip out. Mm-hmm. And
which is wild. because
those are tools that like
3.
adults don't have. So
correct.
That's something like, and there's definitely like a rant on our Instagram or something where I was like, people put shit on kids that are for adults to handle. And that's part of this is like, you as an adult too have this realization, like, you know what, there's stuff that I dealt with as a kid that I shouldn't have had to deal with. And
Absolutely.
even if it's not like something really traumatic and bad, there are still like things, exposures that you have that maybe you didn't get the proper explanation to, or maybe you didn't have an opportunity to process. So it just makes you like, and it makes me upset when I see people not giving their kids these tools, because you know that I saw there was a girl at daycare one day and she was like, I remember seeing her like grabbing things from kids and like, mine, like yelling. And then all the other kids start doing it because that's how kids are. And there was one morning I saw her mom bring her, and her mom was like barking at her almost, like just the same thing. Like, and I thought, oh my God, that's why she does that. That's why she responds the way she does, because mom's like, so it just makes me like so much more aware, because I don't want my daughter to be an adult who, when something happens, when she has a disagreement with a spouse or a friend, where she immediately feels like small and quiet and overwhelmed. And it's hard. I think it's going to improve over time, because I do think that people are legitimately becoming more aware of the importance of emotional regulation. And, you know, obviously we're living with a government of men who were never taught any of these skills.
They never even learned the word no. So
the word no, or basic biology, or civics, or, you know, a lot of basic knowledge.
Geneva Convention.
Crazy. What a crazy world.
Yeah. You know, it reminds me a couple things. So on my street, there's a bunch of kids who are in grade school. They're in elementary school, maybe hitting 6th grade, maybe going up to middle school. But the way that they all play together is so healthy. It's like they were playing like, I guess some type of like base, like wiffle ball type thing in the street this past summer. And one of them was like 1, 2, skibbity. And like kept doing it. And like the other kids were like, just throw the ball. But it was like so good natured. And like, you know, looking back, like I really have not seen the kids like have a fight and like go their separate ways, which was definitely something that would happen in my neighborhood when we were kids and playing. Like we would just be like, okay, like it's too hot today. Clearly we're not friends like right now. So see you later. I'm going home. I just haven't, and it may very well happen, but I just haven't seen that. Instead, they're always outside playing basketball. The moment it's warm enough, they have their basketball out and they're playing basketball with each other. And the other thing is my friend Jess, who you met at my wedding, her second oldest, she, I think was, maybe she had her third at that point. But so her second oldest was maybe like 3. I don't think she was anything older than 3. But my friend, I think she had been pumping and knocked over the bag of the milk. Oh. And so she's like had that reaction and was like kind of like screamed and was like, God damn it. And her second oldest was like, it's okay, mommy. We can just clean it up. And like, so I think it is working, and we are.
I was cleaning something up, and my daughter went, "Good job, Mama." I was like, "Thank you."
Well, and I think that's part of it. Is like, you know, on the other hand, you know, yeah, there's gentle parenting and soft kids, but also like we are helping to heal ourselves as well, because 100%. We're creating an ecosystem of support rather than this competitive fight for resources.
Oh yeah. Well, and as an adult, if I've been teaching someone this, I am way more likely to practice it myself. So like in turn, I am more regulated and am able to like use that language. I can't tell you how often I use the things I do with her at work. You're like using them like with adults. You're like, okay, but it makes you a better communicator. because you're like, okay, I need to validate what this other person is experiencing. I need to find a way to explain it to them that they're going to hear me. Because a lot of the issue with toddlers is like, okay, you've hit this much and there's nothing's coming in. We're just up here. And I realized if I sit this child down at a table and tell her she has to eat, she's not going to eat. If I put food on her little table and let her move around and eat, she will eat a full meal. So it's like you have to apply those same things to like other
when
adults.
I was a kid in a walker, if you put Cheerios on someone else's tray, I would be guaranteed to eat it.
Yes.
So that was a
I couldn't
Cheerio
get
thief.
her to eat clementines for months. I ate a clementine in front of her. Now she will eat clementines. So it's like,
Well, yeah, because you were trying to poison her before that.
I was. She had to make sure that I was eating it. It was safe. That's like my running joke in my house is she'll be like, but are you trying to poison me? Because I think you are. Yeah, I think that like it has really, I wouldn't say I'm more patient with people because I don't think I am. I think that I'm a little bit more creative in my communication.
I think I have much more adult boundaries with my patients. I think there's a certain type of situation where it's it's kind of that thing of like the weaponized incompetence. I am not going to do your job for you just because you insist on not doing it. Like you can dig in your heels all you want. I'm going to wash my hands of this, and now it's on you.
Saying that, being like, hey,
do with that what you want, but this is not on my desk anymore. So,
right.
I appreciate the CC on the email, but I don't need to be included anymore. Thank you.
And I'm fully one of those, like, I'm at the point now where I will just like lay it out. Like, okay, so this happened. I'm feeling this way because of it. We've attempted this and this, and these didn't work. So I think my only recourse at this point is this. So
I did
it does
that this
feel
past
like
week at work. I was like, hey, this is an option. We could close out this file. The person wrote back to me and was like, no, we're not going to do that. And so I was like, okay, just so you know, that's going to affect your ability to appeal this later on. Just so you know, that's the information.
Yep.
I'll have a conversation with the hearing rep about it. But
it feels like a superpower. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I'm not going to fight with you about it.
Yes.
I don't. And it's also just kind of maturing at a certain point and
Yes.
also kind of getting to the point at work where I'm like, yeah, I don't care enough to stress myself out over this.
Yeah, like I just don't want things to be a fight.
Right.
And it's the same thing with my toddler. I don't want it to be a fight.
Right. And so just kind of getting to the point where it's like, okay, well, I don't need to be right about this. Or I don't need you to believe that I'm right about this. You'll find out that I'm right eventually. So like, whatever, do what you want to do. Like I'm on paper saying what I think. And when this blows back on you, like, I'll give you some advice if you ask for it, but yeah, the options were there and you chose not to do it. So, and but anyway, this type of therapy, I think it has definitely been something that it hasn't come up for me since last summer, like needing to say like, this is what I needed in that moment. Because I haven't had another one of those reactions. They really are very few and far between for me at this point, particularly with my partner. It definitely happens at work sometimes, but I guess I always thought like, and I think the other thing too is I think we've talked about it before, but the idea of like, well, it could have been worse. So my trauma's not that bad.
100%. Yeah.
So it's very easy, which that's a form of negative self-talk. Like the idea that like, well, I could have been horribly abused by my parents.
I should be tougher about this.
Right. Like I don't need to, which is a very boomer thing of like, oh, you scraped your knee. Well, your knee didn't get cut off. So you're doing fine. Rub some dirt on it and keep it moving. But so the idea that like you have this inner child that needs healing doesn't require that you've experienced so much trauma. Like the trauma that I experienced was watching my stepmom and my father fight. Like, they weren't yelling at me necessarily, but it was like observing this and feeling a certain way and internalizing it. And that's
because it was also about you.
Well, it was. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying.
Yeah. No, but it's
I mean, relevant to me.
Right.
But, you know, as opposed to like, you know, and there's so much.
But you've got people saying the quiet part out loud in front of you. I mean, as a kid who, I mean, your brain's not developed. Like, you're not in the place to be, and you shouldn't be in a position of trying to understand and rationalize what these adults are saying. You know what I mean?
I mean, that happened also, you know, in my home, so to speak. I mean, my father's house. So there's nowhere for me to go.
Right.
Like, that's the safe harbor, technically.
Yeah.
Like, how am I supposed to get anywhere else? There were no cell phones. Who am I going to call? Also, he lived someplace where I'm certain there's no cell service in that fucking house anyway.
Yeah.
He lived in the middle of fucking nowhere in Vermont.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just one of those things where, you know, it's, if you're listening and you're like, well, that doesn't apply to me, consider that it might, especially if you were late diagnosed ADHD, like we were, if you're late diagnosed depression and anxiety, you know, there's a lot of like with masking that goes on with that. If your mask slips and then you were made to feel a certain way about it, you know, it's asking yourself, okay, when that happened when I was 13 and felt awkward and gangly and weird in my body in the first place, and then this happened, like I had my period unexpectedly and I leaked through my pants. Like, what did I need in that moment? Kind of thing. And, you know, figuring out how to process that feeling and give yourself now what you need when you feel that way. And it was something that I found very interesting, and there's a lot more to it. There's like somewhat limited research about it. But it is out there. It's called IFS. I did think that initially when I Googled it, it was just like, I thought, because all my therapist told me was that it's called IFS. She didn't tell me what it stood for. So it was like
IBS.
Like internal family systems. I thought it was like a therapy group. Like it was like internalfamilysystems.com or whatever. Yeah. And I was like, no.
You're
so then
the mark, actually.
Yeah, I tried a few different search criteria, and then I accepted that was what it was called. But yeah, I mean, the idea that you're trying to heal from a DID perspective, heal those parts of you that come outwardly to protect the core you, and or to manage the core you and to prevent that feeling from happening is, you know, obviously an extreme reaction to trauma as opposed to the rest of us, I suppose, who don't necessarily have a completely different identity that comes out in order to avoid any uncomfortable feelings. But
I mean, in reality, it doesn't need to be trauma based. I mean, it can just be unresolved feelings that you have from your childhood that you obviously haven't dealt with enough and are still impacting your behavior, which I know we've talked about too, like that, the Cure for Chronic Pain, that podcast where they talk about that, where it's like, hey, if you don't deal with these like little things from your past, they will bubble up in other ways. And this is like an example of that. Like it's bubbling up in a way that you're feeling triggered. So maybe instead of, you know, you have back pain, you know, you're crying and having a fight that like doesn't need to happen with your spouse or your partner or whoever. So yeah, it's definitely like, obviously there's something to be said for working through your shit. But it's like important to not 24/7. It's not like you 24/7. You have to be working on your shit, but you need to make sure like when something comes up, you are taking the opportunity to take a minute or the next day or whatever else, just kind of taking a second to or before your next therapy appointment, taking a second to like process and unpack it a little bit. Right.
Yeah. And I think unpack is a great way to phrase it, because you really are kind of unpacking that baggage and putting it on a shelf.
Yeah, because you don't have to carry that
forever,
every day, everywhere you go.
And it's
all this luggage.
I think especially like with like the RSD reactions to things, you don't necessarily know that you're carrying this baggage. I certainly didn't. You know, I know you found out a lot about my family this past year.
I really did.
And my childhood.
I really did. Katie probably did a lot of processing because she got to watch me process in real time.
It was actually great
and then
for
scream
me
about it.
for you to meet my friend Jess, because she was my roommate in college. We met the very first day we were on campus, freshman year. So now at this point, I've known her for more than half my life, which is like a crazy thing to think about.
Yeah, it is.
But
crazy.
So I've known her for 20 years at this point. But so like it was crazy for you two to meet and like discuss my family dynamics.
Oh yeah.
Because like she saw so much of it, because like there's like my dad didn't come to my college graduation, and like she was there for that, and like all these different things like that happened when I was in undergrad. And like my stepmother said I'm not welcome at her house unless my dad is there, like random shit, you know. But like these are the things that like Garrett found out about this past year, because you know, it just comes up when you're planning a wedding and you have to invite all these people to so many events.
It also helps that I love the lore. So yes. if the opportunity presents that you can tell me a story with context of like family things that have happened, I like.
But then you got to meet the
enough.
people, which is like the best part.
And
I think
I got to meet them. So it was just like the whole time me just observing.
I felt like at the wedding, it was like, holy shit, you're real, was your reaction to everybody.
Yes, just like that's what happened when I met your dad the first time. Yeah, I was with your mom, and I told her I would have really loved for a camera to have been there to catch me just like
I mean,
looking
she
back
also
and forth
shit her pants in that moment, because he gave her a big hug, which he has not done in 35 years.
Yep.
After right before they got divorced, I think. So
yeah, he did it, and I saw it. I was there, and I was like this, like mouth open, just like the whole time. Yep. And then he introduced himself to me, and then he introduced himself to me like an hour later. So that was nice. Well,
I'm pretty sure he was utterly annihilated that night. So
yeah.
That's the hope anyway, given
I was being mean, so it's okay.
Yeah, well, you know, some people make,
and that's the other part.
They have to lay in it. So
Katie also got to watch. I feel like it was probably a little full circle, because you also got to watch, like, you know, you have somebody who, you know, you put a bunch of bad karma out there for a long time. Mm-hmm. And it was like it all culminated in one event. So all of these different people who have all had like separate interactions that they didn't like, it's like they were all in the same place at the same time. And all like,
yeah, I mean,
literally giving him a look like, really?
Love me, love my brother, love my mom.
Yes.
And know what he and his current wife have chosen to do to us.
Yes.
And how to treat us and all these things. So,
it was great.
Yeah. I mean, it was very much like a chickens coming home to roost sort of moment. Yes. And I think, you know, I don't know that he ever really, because then that's the thing, I think also with my dad's side of the family, with my dad especially, my grandpa was like this too, where it's like, it's family, it doesn't matter, you show up for your family, like, end of story, this is family. And so as a result, like, my dad is still invited to things, like, he's not disinvited, it's and with my family, with that side of my family, it's also very like, if you're here, just show up and like, you know, we'll have a seat for you. It's not a problem. That's just always been that way.
Which I agree with to a degree.
Yes.
Definitely funerals, I feel that way about. Like, you just go. You just go and do it.
And so, you know, it's just that thing where like you've spent the past 30 years alienating yourself from everybody in this room. And then
not being nice.
Right.
At the most basic level, not being nice to people.
Right. And you want to show up and be, you know, the star player and, you know, big guy on campus. And nobody was really having it because they knew. Do
you remember that commercial with Dikembe Mutombo? And somebody goes to put something in their shopping cart, and he slaps it and he goes, no, no, no. He was like an old NBA player. Yes. That's what the entire wedding was like. He kept trying to be charming, and one of us was like, no, 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 and would just either completely ignore him or redirect or whatever. So yeah, I think it was really nice that everybody was like, no, we're here for Katie. Fuck yourself. And then just turned back to where their attention should be. So it was nice. I love to see it. I love the lore. Then like, and the other thing was then you get all these family members together and then like other lore that like either Katie didn't know about or that she forgot about, or she was like, oh, well, it just didn't come up, kept coming up. So it was just like everywhere I turned, I was getting more of it. It was great. I loved it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was really great.
Yeah, it's always fun to get them all together, and yeah, they're just such a good time. Like, it's just, my family's just so big. Like, I can party with both sides of my family, but I've never had them all together in one place like that before. So it was a really good time, and it was great to really flesh out the meat and potatoes of my history for Garrett.
It was great. I loved it. I loved every second.
But yeah, so, you know, that's IFS and a little bit of my lore, I suppose.
Yeah. I like that though. I think that that's like a really good, it's a good practice to have, I think.
Yeah.
Just like in general.
You know, again, it's that self-compassion, and the improvements in self-compassion, which, I definitely, you know, like I think I said on Patreon at some point that, I was applying for these jobs, and, PK said if I got the job because it was sort of adjacent to where he's currently working, that, you know, we'd be even, because he feels like I got him his job, you know, or at least his first job in the public sector. And that night I was laying in bed and I was like, if I get this job, then he'll have no reason to marry me because we'll be even. And I told him about it the next day, and he's like, what is wrong with you?
She told me about it and I cackled. I was like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, it is a fully ridiculous thought, but it was like that thing where
we have, like, and it's funny, our anxious thoughts are so different. They're so different. Like, I'm never, it's terrible. I'm never concerned. My spouse at this point, I'm like, leave me. You won't. Like, it's so bad. So not where my anxious thoughts go.
We're like 12 years behind you, though, so it'll take another decade or so for us to be like, okay. You have fun with that.
Yeah,
I can tell you one thing though, I'm never changing my goddamn name again because I got my license finally.
Nightmare.
So now it's permanent. And I did get a brand new email address at work.
Good for
new
you.
Email address, name changed, everything. It was so
You're real.
easy. I thought for sure I was going to have to get the governor involved. Because nobody else who's had a name change has a different email address. They keep using the same email address. And I was like, there has to be a way to just like forward this. And the IT guy was like, yeah, it'll still, like, you're going to have the same login, but like you'll have a separate email address that people can email to. It'll all come to the same inbox. And I was like, outstanding. Yeah. That's what I want.
Like, that's how it's supposed to be.
Right. Because it's the idea of like being in a hearing and saying to opposing counsel, like, my name's Katie Kennedy. And then I give them an email address with O'Brien in it and then being like, excuse you?
We have a contact an external contact I have to deal with periodically for work. And since I have started, so I've been there like, 7 or 8 years now, 8 years, 9 years. She has, however long, she has had like 4 different names and it still has the original name in her email. And I'm like, I mean, like, I get it, but also like just change it.
Well, apparently in Outlook, you can just add it. And then, like, all my outgoing emails are my new email. Like, my contact card has both listed, but all of my outgoing emails are my new email. And, like...
it's fun? Men don't have to deal with fucking any of this, generally. It's generally
that's what I said
just
to the lady at
women
DMV.
changing their names.
I was like, if men had to do this, I wouldn't have to go... There would be one single office I go to.
Yes.
And I'd have to fill out one single form.
And they would wave a fucking wand at the end of it and be like,
ta-da!
It's done.
Yeah.
Everything's changed. You never have to think about this ever again. And it was free.
Yeah. Although it is free to change my name on my notary license, apparently.
Oh.
And that is the other thing. Like, I was talking about it with somebody, I think of my therapist, but I was like, because it's a name change due to marriage, like, everybody has a process for that.
Yeah.
So I'm very grateful that I'm not trans, and I'm not trying to like change my birth certificate or change like because of those things, because those are newer processes. I feel like not everywhere is going to have like the same level of understanding. Like this is a very straightforward, like, oh, you got married, click the button, you're done, goodbye.
$50 filing fee.
Right. So at least it's that, like it's, and it's a marriage and not a divorce. So it's like, you know, people are like, oh, congratulations, as opposed to being like, sorry, like I'm uncomfortable. But yeah, so that's the only like plus side, is that it's a very straightforward process and a straightforward reason.
Yes.
But yeah, otherwise it's just like, when she was like, yeah, you need to change the title on your car, I was like, motherfuck.
Yes.
Forgot about the title on my car. That being said, who cares about the title on my car?
Yeah.
Like, whatever.
Yeah, I had to do like that. Did I wait? I must have waited and done the name change order because I changed my middle name too. So I had to do a separate name change process and like petition it with the county. Yeah, because I wanted to make my maiden name my middle name. And in New York State, they don't let you do that with your marriage license. Like that serves as like a name change if you're just changing your last name. But because I was changing my middle name, I had to
my marriage license would have allowed me to change my middle name. There was a separate space for it.
Did these motherfuckers change it?
Probably.
I had to go to the county. I had to fill out a form. I had to write up an explanation as to why I wanted to change my name. I had to file an announcement in 2 different newspapers announcing my name change. I had to file all of that with the county, and a judge had to review my application, and it cost me like $400. And at one point, or maybe it was a $300 filing fee. I'm at the county and I was like, hey, for this field, are you looking for like this information or this? And she goes, I can't tell you how to fill out the form. I was like, you're not telling me how to fill out the form.
I'm like, good, okay.
I'm asking for what piece of information you're looking for here.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you how to fill out the form. And I was like, men would never have to do any of this. So yeah, but then once I got that, then I could do the name change process.
What was I looking at? There was like some form. What form was I filling out for my name change? But it had like the little like info dot next to it for like what information to put in there. And so I fill it out, and it's like when you click the info dot, it was like basically restating. So it was like middle name and info dot, or like last name, let's say. And info dot, it's like, enter your last name here. And I was like, right, current or former? I need some fucking specificity. And then when I printed the form, it had the full, like, long form instructions on it. And that had the information of, like old name, new name, yada, yada. But I was like, why wouldn't you have put that in the little I button? Like, I think it must have been for my passport. But I was like, what? Like, I filled it out correctly.
Your name, and then any other names you've ever gone by.
Yes.
I can understand that. Yeah, it was such a shit show, and I didn't even know about it until I was literally filling out my marriage license. And I was like, oh, so I do like blah, blah, blah. And the lady was like, you can't do that on a marriage license. And I was like, what are you talking about? And she was like, in New York State, you can't change your middle name with your marriage license, only your last name.
I think maybe you were lied to.
I will cut somebody. I'm still mad about it, and it's been 12 years. It was so annoying.
No, I think you were lied to, because it, like, when I was filling out the marriage license form, she was like, okay, if you're going to change your middle name to your current maiden name, that's where you put it. Like, she went through and said that to me specifically. And I was like, no, I'm going to keep my middle name the same, because otherwise I'd be cock, which I didn't say to her, but.
First of all, shocked you didn't say it.
I didn't want to sexually harass the town clerk.
We went into City Hall, right, to get it. And like, we're standing at the door.
She's typing on her phone, folks.
Yeah, I have my phone out. And this girl is literally, sorry, I forgot. This girl is sitting on her, just scrolling her phone at her desk. And we were like,
what a vibe.
Hi. She was like, I'll be right with you. And then we just continued to stand there. Truly. So if it was that person that gave me wrong information.
Did you go in on March 31st? Is that the problem?
I made all your appointments for March 31st because I thought it wasn't a date. What the fuck? I'm going to do some Googling. I'm going to see if she lied to me.
I think she did. I'm sorry.
Fucking asshole.
I'm sorry you had to find out like this.
I honestly, like, I'm going to be really angry. It was so much work.
Yeah,
it was so much work.
Silliness.
In the newspaper. Just that's why when we did our LLC, you were like, so we have to publish it. And I was like, oh, trust me. Been there, done that.
That makes sense, though, because, yeah, so Garrett, when we were filing our LLC, Garrett was like, oh, I can handle that. And I was like, sure. Like, by all means, I fucking hate that. The idea that you still have to publish in the newspaper is so whack to me, too. Like, I just think it's such
What year
nonsense.
is it?
Yeah. Like,
also, good luck fucking finding it if they print it. They have to email it
in the
to you
classifieds on, like, 0.6 font. Like,
truly. Oh, you didn't find out on page 302, line 706? Like, they have to email it to you, and it's the only way to find it because good luck trying to fucking find it otherwise. So anyway, yeah, I had to do a whole name change order separate from my marriage license. And I'm not mad
Garrett's
about it at all.
Yeah,
doing really well.
Mm. Well,
heal your inner child.
Yeah, that's all we got for this week. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook at The Bar is Ankle High. We are on TikTok at Ankle High Pod. We need you to leave us 5-star reviews wherever you can find us. If you can write out a review, even better. And share us with your friends. Share us with your coworkers. Share us with people you hate. I don't give a fuck. Yeah.
This whole podcast hearsay anyway.
Until next week, give your inner child a lollipop.
Yeah, because the bar is ankle high. That's cute.
Bye.
Bye.